We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles McKenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip. When it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hello and welcome back to Fringes of Reality, the show where we talk about your encounters with high strangeness. I am your host, Ashley Hilt, and joining me this week as co-host is Zuul. Zuul, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Fantastic. It's been a while since I've talked to you. I'm excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. It's been a minute.
I know you're making movies now, so you're way cooler than us. I don't.
Yeah, this month it got busy. I wasn't expecting it to be a busy month, but it loaded up really fast. I got a film deal and I'm working on that, and it's been really fun.
Well, congratulations. I
Thank you.
think that's great. So, for this week's episode, we have Susy here. Susy, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming.
Hello.
I'm excited to hear your story. I'm just excited. I always say that. I'm super excited. Well, it's because I am. I love this stuff, So you volunteered. You wanted to come on. You wanted to share your experiences with the strange. I have no clue where this is going to go. So that makes me really excited. So do you have just one experience, or are you bringing multiple experiences to share?
So I have one experience that turned into a couple years worth of problems for me.
Oh, okay. All righty. Interesting. Well, let's go ahead and start. Let's go to the very beginning here. Where did this start for you?
So this started, it was like summer of 2020. I had this.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we're setting the stage already, right?
All right.
So
Things that happened in 2020.
On top of everything else, I also had this problem starting.
Right.
So I started having this reoccurring dream. And in the dream, I am in my hometown, which is already terrifying, being back in your teeny tiny, small-minded hometown. So immediately bad scene.
Yeah. Don't like that.
And it's this one particular house, which was an actual house in my hometown. I didn't know the people that lived there or anything, but it was just kind of like scenery growing up. I remember seeing the house. And in the dream, there is this one older woman and these two younger guys, and I'm helping them on their farm. And everything is going good. Everyone's nice and it's a good day until I go to leave. And I go to get in my car and the transmission is gone, which is bizarre. I don't know anything about cars. I don't know how I knew my transmission was gone, how it was gone.
Well, dream logic.
Yeah.
You just
in the
knew.
dream, transmission was gone. So I go to tell the woman, like, my transmission's gone. I need help. And she immediately changes. And she starts screaming at me that I can't leave, that I have to stay. And I go to run, and the two guys grab me.
Okay.
And that's where the dream ends.
Okay.
So this dream started happening like once or twice a week.
Okay.
And after the first few times, I called my mother and said, I'm having this dream. And I described the house to her. And she's like, oh, that's the house your grandmother grew up in.
Oh.
Which interesting. You didn't
I had
know
no
before.
idea at the time. And I described the woman in my dream. And she says, you know what? That sounds like your great grandmother.
Okay. All right.
And I had never known her or my grandmother's side of the family very much. But from what my mother said, she was not a nice woman.
Okay. So that checks out the behavior in the dream.
Yes. My mother sent me a picture that she had of my great grandmother. It was the woman in my dream.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Very cool. Well, okay, so let's.
And you've never met her?
She died before I was born.
Did you hear stories of her growing up, or see pictures of her around the house, or like?
Not that I can recall. My grandmother, I grew up, she babysat me when I was little. I was around my grandmother all the time, but my grandmother never talked about her family. I only knew about my grandfather's family.
Okay.
And
So
we've kind of pieced together some reasons why that might be. I don't think she had a great relationship with her mother either.
Gotcha. So the house, you said that in your dream, you're at this house. You've seen the house before around town, but you mentioned working on a farm. Was there a farm at the house in real life?
Not when I was alive, but there used to be.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned two male characters in your dream. So we got the lady who is your grandmother. She's apparently a mechanic.
Or has a mechanic minion, maybe.
Right. What about the two gentlemen? Do you know who they might be?
We don't know at all.
Did she have farm hands?
Well, since this dream happened, I have met the neighbor, the current day neighbor, who inherited his house from his father, and then it was his grandfather's before them. So his grandfather.
So he might know more of the history.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said, so apparently my great grandfather owned a still during Prohibition.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, spicy.
Yep. And there was stories of like neighbors being brought home in wheelbarrows and stuff like that.
Sure.
But he did mention they had a farmhand from Germany for a while that he knew about.
Okay.
I don't recall either of them being German though, so that might be a dead end. But yeah, who the other two guys are kind of.
Did she really have sons?
No, just two daughters. No sons.
Okay, that's interesting. I guess I don't see that it could be unheard of for them to be farmhands, right? You're talking your great grandmother. So you're talking. Well, you said, he had a still there. So what? Early 1900s to 1930s? Is that what your
my grandmother was born in 1917.
Okay.
So just for reference, she was probably born late 1800s somewhere.
How old do you think the woman in the dream was? Was she just kind of taking a guess of a decade?
So old-timey people kind of look older.
I agree. They do. That's a fact, actually.
She was very matronly. I would say in her 60s.
So after grandma's born.
And the men, were they younger or?
Yeah, they were probably in their 30s.
And how old are you in the dream?
That's a good question. I was definitely not a child in the dream. I was driving. But I was in my old car, which would have been 10 years ago.
Okay. Well, that is interesting. But as far as you're just you at whatever time period in your life.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're having this dream. You find out, oh, hey, it's great grandma and she's terrible. What rabbit hole did this lead you down? I mean, it sounds like you've gone as far as, contacting the neighbor.
Yeah. So
I want to hear that part.
Yeah. So I kind of, tried to ignore it for a while, thinking it would go away. It did not. So I asked around if any of my friends knew any mediums or anything like that. The first person I talked to, I didn't want to give them too much information to have them go off of. So I just, said, I have this dream about my great grandma. Are you getting anything? And one of the first things they said was, "Oh, she's not angry." I was like, "You're wrong. No."
Yeah, that's
She's
not her
always
thing.
angry. You're so wrong. That was her nature. She was always angry.
My grandma, she's that way. She's dead now, but I'm sure she's still angry about it.
So I immediately, I was like, I do not trust this person. We're not going with them. And then I talked to a second person, and that second person immediately was like, "Oh, do you crochet?" And I'm looking around like, do I have anything on me?
Right.
And I didn't. And that person...
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles McKenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Basically told me that the feeling she got was that my great grandmother was upset because we are different religions and I'm not going down the path that she wants her family to go down.
Ah.
Which checks out.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. So she's trying to, so maybe the interpretation of the dream and the you can't leave as maybe more,
You can't leave this religion.
right. You can't leave this lifestyle.
Right.
Or is that what your conclusion is at this, at this point?
Yeah, I feel like she wants me to be pulled back into the line that she wanted her family to go in, and she wants me to be stuck in that path.
Is she still bothering you? Are you still having these dreams?
So that second medium that I talked to, she gave me some suggestions.
Okay.
One of them was to get holy water and try talking to her. My mother also sent me my great grandmother's Bible.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So I tried putting that on the nightstand. I didn't
You tried
do the
to
holy
trick
water
her
thing.
into believing that. Look, Grandma, I've got your Bible. It's good. See?
I didn't do the holy water thing because I didn't even want to go to a church to get the holy water. So I didn't do that. And then one day I'm in my bedroom and I have a TV on top of my dresser. And right after I walked by, the TV fell off the dresser.
Okay.
And I'm looking my cats are accounted for. Neither of them did it. And I also have this runner on the dresser and that didn't move. And I think that might have been an escalation in things. She's getting mad that I'm not paying attention and falling in line after she's threatening me and all of that.
Just trying to take transmission out of your old car. She
Yeah.
threw a
And
TV
I'm,
at you.
At this point, I'm scared to go back to my hometown to visit because I'm scared I'll get stuck there. My transmission will go or something.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
You could.
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah. So that to me, it wasn't scary. I got mad.
Sure.
What is your problem?
Right. This is not your
Who are
business.
you to tell me that you're right and I'm wrong? Obviously, whatever idea you had of the afterlife, I don't know, but you're still here bothering me, so it can't be that great.
Right. Don't you have anything better to do? Hang out with angels and play harps or something?
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. So just for clarity's sake, let's go ahead and let's name them, right? What religion was great grandma? What did she follow? And what do you follow?
So she was at the time it was called Congregationalist.
Okay.
I think now, what would it be called now?
I have no idea. I'm going to assume some type of Christianity.
Yes.
I don't know what exactly. I know there's a lot of subdivisions, and I have no idea.
A congregating kind.
You're right. So they had been. They're basically They were a Mayflower family. They were Puritans,
Oh boy.
and but Puritan isn't actually what they called themselves. They called themselves Congregationalists.
Didn't the Puritan bloodline run out because they didn't believe in procreation, and that was like
I don't
part
know
of the
about that.
problem?
I know what happened with the Shakers.
The Shakers, that's who it was. It wasn't the Puritans.
That's super embarrassing.
That was just poorly thought through.
And it's like, now everybody knows that you didn't get laid. Everyone knows.
It just doesn't seem like a very good plan for
No.
long-term stability of any religious sect. Hey, part of our religion is we don't have sex, so there is no babies, so there's
Right.
nobody to carry it on.
Right.
This
Let's
is
get
it.
this group of people together that
It's
don't
just
have.
us guys, and then we
There's
die,
people-
and everything ends.
There's people
Lack
that
of
are like
foresight.
sex repulsed, and that's fine. Like there's people that are asexual or whatever. They're not interested in it. But like this was a bad move. Like they took all of those people and put them together and was like, great, we're gonna prosper. And it's like you can't prosper though. Like you literally cannot.
There's no prospering without sex.
You just can't. And then so what religion or what do you follow now?
I would say lack of religion.
Okay,
In
that's
general.
fine.
Would you say more atheism or agnostic, lack of religion? Because I similarly would say that I lack religion, but I would say I'm more agnostic than atheist. There's something, but I don't know what it is. I'm too small and stupid to know.
So right. I think like there are things that we don't understand
Mhm.
and maybe we can't comprehend. But more like just science that we can't explain type of thing.
Right. We just don't have the methodology to prove things, but it doesn't mean that there aren't things there.
Right.
So
and before this happened, I didn't even believe in ghosts,
oh, okay.
anything.
Okay. So you're not, at the time, because I mean, it sounds like, you did something to piss her off, right? So instead of just living,
2020 pissed her off.
yeah, she's.
Same.
Were you dabbling in any time? Were you like, trying to pick up witchcraft or doing any divination, or, maybe you were. Unlike the Shakers, and you were just banging everybody. I mean, is there anything that you think
instigated this? Did you?
Not that I'm not slut shaming at all. I'm slut pro, so I'm here for it. But like, is there something that you think that you may have done that pushed her over her limit to start coming to visit you?
Well, I feel like that would have been more appropriate for her to do in my 20s because now I'm kind of boring.
That's true. You did say that in the beginning of this. You told me you were very boring.
Odd theory about this because you said it happened in 2020. Were you at the time at home like everyone else, locked down and by yourself and spending more time in an introspective state of being? I think a lot of us in 2020 spent a lot of time with ourselves, and in that quiet there were a lot of things that came to be that we would not have noticed in our lives when our lives were busy pre-2020. Do you know what I'm saying? So maybe she was trying to tell you all along. She's been trying to get in contact with you all along, but your life was so much busier. And at that point, it was just an opportune moment in time when your mind was more of a peaceful state to be receptive to that kind of thing.
And just to throw it out there, some of my friends have tried to blame my cat.
Why?
Your cat?
I got a COVID kitten.
Oh.
I adopted him. It was a few months into COVID. He happens to be a black cat, and I thought it would be funny to name him Alistair Pauly.
Oh, that's cute.
I think it's adorable.
But the problem is he kind of has the same type of like bumbling idiot attitude as the real Alistair Crowley.
I love that. Yeah.
And,
so it could be the real Alistair Crowley is what you're saying.
He could be, and we connected a lot because I think just from like being home 24/7,
Right.
but
Sure.
immediately people were like, that's not a normal cat. Like that's like a familiar or something. 'Cause-
What
I
it
want to meet
really
this
is a
cat
normal
now.
cat. I've had several cats in my life, and every single one of them have had their own unique personalities. They're never
True.
normal.
That is cats.
Cats are their own unique, interesting characters.
but I
Yes.
wouldn't put it past a cat to invite like a angry ancestor ghost in.
Oh, absolutely. They would do that just for kicks, you know?
The one part of the dream that you're leaving out is she's like telling you, you can't leave. Also, give the cat extra food.
Yes.
I can see that. That totally checks out. No, let me let me chime in for a second on a little bit of interesting trivia that was happening in 2020. And I don't know, Susie, maybe you're familiar with this happening because this was a personal experience to you. It sounds like you were trying to do your due diligence, Jesus, and try to make sense of it. Are you familiar with in 2020 people were having these like insane vivid dreams? Had you heard that?
No. Tell me more.
Yep. So it was, I mean, it was just kind of, something that started off as being like on social media where people are like, I just saw a post today and it's like, oh, is anybody else having crazy dreams lately? No, like this was happening to like everybody. I had very strange, vivid dreams and I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
a dream person. Like I don't normally remember, I mean, everybody dreams, whether or not you remember them is the question. I really don't remember mine most of the time. And, I was even remembering them and it was just kind of happening. Well, then of course, scientists are bored. They're sick of looking at COVID. So, I mean, they start looking at these people's dreams and, kind of wonder, what's activating that? Is it because we're all so stricken with grief and loneliness that it's our brain trying to get creative?
Stress.
Right. Is it because of the, the negativity of just the state of the world right now? What is causing that? I don't believe there was ever an answer, because sleep in and of itself and dreaming is already very mysterious.
It is.
There's so much we don't know about it. And even like dream interpretation is, obviously it's a pseudoscience, right? It's kind of up to the person interpreting.
What is your take on things like astral projection and being able to enter other people's dreams and communicate with others while dreaming and those kind of things? That when we're talking about the mysteries of dreams, those are some of the things that come to mind.
Yeah. I mean, I know somebody who says that they can do that. And the only thing I can do is take their word for it. They've never come to my dreams. I just have to assume that what they're telling is true. I don't specialize in dreams myself because like I said, I don't dream a lot. So it's just not something that's ever really piqued my interest in that regard. But these mass vivid dreams that people were having during that time, I did find interesting. It was a very collective experience.
Were they having similar dreams where people were dreaming of the same things?
I don't think so. I don't really know if they were or weren't. This was more of a,
because that would be wild. That's some like Stephen King, The Stand stuff there. Like we're all dreaming of the same black lady in a cornfield in Nebraska. There might be more to it than just a pandemic.
Yeah. No, I think I would have. I think I would have remembered. But it was just like I said, it's one of those things that was just kind of happening and caught my eye for a moment. But it sticks out to me now because Susie, your dreams were happening. Well, guess what? In that prime time, right in 2020, when this was going on. Now that you know that information, I mean, I'm assuming you're going to take it and try to apply it to your situation somehow. I can't say that I know. I could tell you, that people's, that people are having dreams like you were because yours seem very specific. It has a greater outside influence, but it might be helpful in trying to kind of, understand what may have happened there.
Yeah, one thing that I did find helped, at least me mentally, was I saw a woman on TikTok who had also had like a mean ancestor.
Okay.
ghost situation. I was like, oh, so it's not just me that has mean ones.
Thank God.
I've been told by a friend of mine who is a bit of a medium that I have 3 spirits that follow me and my children around at all times, and that one of them is a rather dark, oppressive one. And we've even talked about like the means to like get rid of these things.
Yeah.
But she said that it's an ancestral spirit, and while it's mean and oppressive, it has its purpose. So to get rid of it would not be beneficial to me. It keeps me in balance and keeps me in check. So it was an interesting conversation to have. But yeah, when we're talking about mean ancestral relatives, apparently, according to my friend who has some gifts, I have one of those that follows me around everywhere.
You can relate. Yeah. So, Susie, you were saying you were kind of started to say that this started to manifest in not just dream world, but real world. What did you do after that to handle that situation?
So I'm not sure if it was that same night or if it was, a few days later, but I was getting into bed and I look up at that same TV that had fallen and I saw my reflection in it. And that kind of stuck out to me. And I realized then, like, a TV that's turned off is just a black mirror.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they say, like, don't have mirrors facing your bed.
Yep.
This TV was directly in front of my bed.
Mm-hmm.
I just put a scarf over the TV.
I knew a woman that would cover her TV whenever it wasn't on. I feel like I've known a couple of people in my life that have done that. Even whether or not it's in the room or not, but yes, in the bedroom specifically, you're not supposed to have mirrors.
You just gave me the creeps saying that, because I am currently sitting in my bedroom directly across from my shut off TV screen, looking at my reflection. Talking bad juju about my creepy ancestors who could come through that screen.
How do we cover it? No,
the dreams actually stopped after that, but I still don't know for sure.
Like, maybe that was her slamming a door.
Yeah.
I'm done with you. I can't convince you to live your life the way I want you to. I'm just going to throw this TV at you. I'm done.
Just gonna move on to somebody else. When did they stop? When was this?
So it had gone on for probably a year and a half. So it wasn't that long ago that this stopped.
Gotcha.
Wow. That's a long time to be dealing with that.
Oh, yeah.
And because when you have a dream like that, you're not going back to sleep.
No,
bedtime becomes the worst time. You're like, oh, God, here we go again. I'm going to go to bed and the transmission's going to go missing out of my car. And
I used to have this recurring dream, which I haven't had in years, thank goodness. But as a child, I used to have a recurring dream of, and to this day, I won't sleep with my head below an open window, but there was a bald man in the window looking in, like peering in with his hands to each side, like
ew,
trying to block the glare. And I was sleeping directly beneath the window, and I reach up in the dream to close the window to like pull the shade down, and I touch his face because like the window's wide open, and I wake up because that's horrifying. But yeah, I used to have a recurring dream of like this bald man trying to peer in a window, and then I reach up and touch his face.
Well, it doesn't make for very peaceful sleep.
Now I sleep next to a bald man.
It's a little more normal now. You dreamt it. You manifested it.
Yes, yes. Now he doesn't peer in the window anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't have to now. It worked.
It worked.
Oh my gosh. So your mom. Let's talk about. So your mom's mom, your grandma, not great grandma. I'm going to assume that she's not still alive. Is that right, or is she still alive?
Correct. She passed about 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. And then, so your mom, when you tell her of these dreams, I mean, obviously she's like, oh, that's your, great grandmother, but really, like, what's her take on it? Did she ever disclose she's had this kind of contact with her grandmother before?
No, my mother does not believe in anything either. And I
Gotcha.
was actually surprised she was even like indulging my questions. And, there was a point where I was like digging through old family stuff and pictures. And I found out that my grandmother was pregnant when she got married to my grandfather.
Okay.
And
Scandalous.
I called my mother and asked her about it. And she got upset with me about that one.
That's a
Oh.
family scandal. Shh.
Yeah.
Right.
But all of these old pictures, my grandmother's with my grandfather's family and not hers.
Yeah, I gotcha. Right, because obviously some fallout. I mean, now at this point, do you know if how long it had been since your grandmother and great grandmother were even in contact with each other?
I know that my great grandmother passed away in the 60s, but
Okay.
my mother, when I asked her, she said that she only met her a few times and they lived only a few miles away.
Right. So pretty much, it sounds like from the time that your grandmother was able to leave, she did. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's so interesting. I would want to know more.
Right.
Because it just seems so weird.
Yeah, it's very compelling. Like
It is. It is.
It's like receiving a letter from some long lost relative and then not having any further contact with them, having any other way of like knowing anything more.
Do you buy the story that she's visiting you because of the religious aspect? I mean, is that what you're subscribing to now?
I mean, she's real mad. I don't know if it's necessarily religion, but I mean, if she was upset with my grandmother for getting pregnant and then getting married, like I have a kid and I never got married.
Maybe that's it.
She's punishing you for it. It could be, because I just wondered if on the flip side of that, do you think it's potentially she is carrying a lot of guilt?
She should be. I mean,
She should
I hope
be,
she is.
right. And I agree with that. Yeah, she should be. But you're the one that encounters her,
Yeah.
If you feel like this is more anger because she's directing it at you, or maybe it's a guilty thing. Not that she's could be angry still, right? But maybe she's just displacing that because she probably, I mean, it sounds like she wasn't a very emotionally inept individual, right? So she probably translated most feelings into anger.
It does feel like it's a very fear-based anger.
Okay.
Like she's afraid for you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I kind of even like started questioning myself. I'm like, well, she's dead. She might know more than me. Should I be afraid? But then, if she's coming back angry, I mean, like I said before, she's just not having a good time in the afterlife.
Right.
So maybe she didn't do it right.
And maybe that's what she's trying to tell you. She's like, hey, hell sucks.
I have some curiosities about why it's your old car and not your current car. What kind of car was this old car?
It was a emerald green Saturn Ion, and I loved that car.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, maybe it's just because you love that car so much.
Might be.
And she took a piece out of it, and she.
You don't love your current car as much as you loved your old car?
I'm lukewarm about the current one.
That's how it goes, right? You're just like, oh, my car is dead. Now maybe I'll like this one. It's okay. It drives. It gets
all of it has this heavy connotation of past, like it's past car, it's past family, ancestral home,
old hometown.
Yeah, old hometown. So I don't know if it's just at that time in your life you were just reflecting on your past heavily, and that just kind of, like I said, opened up a doorway there for great grandma comes sneaking in.
That's when everyone was getting into like the ancestry and 23andMe stuff too.
Oh,
during
yeah,
that
that's
time
true.
period.
Did you partake
Subliminal
in that?
messaging.
Yeah. So I did it earlier,
Okay.
but because I'm from like a well documented white New England family, like there wasn't much to
Sure.
be found. Like I already knew.
Right. There's no surprises.
I have not been brave enough to do that. That 23andMe,
Really?
because if we get into the sordid, that's a whole episode in and of itself. The sordid details of where Zuul's past is. Yeah,
Fair enough.
I come from a long line of weird orphans, so it would be interesting to find out. I probably have all sorts of, and then the family I do know, my maternal grandmother's family. My maternal grandma had 16 children, so
Oh,
I'm one of like
wow.
150 cousins, and so on
Oh,
and so forth.
geez.
So there's a lot of us, and I imagine there's even more of us that we don't know about.
Mhm.
Let's put it this way: I was born in Nebraska, and I chose to move to Ohio to find somebody to marry and date, so I could. 'Cause my grandma populated half the state of Nebraska, so.
Well, fair enough. Hey, I like Ohio. All right, that's big misconception. It was like, oh, Ohio's terrible. No, it's great. It's just you have to know what you're looking for. And Zuul was looking for love, and she found it. So,
I found it. Well, I found it in Nebraska, but it brought me to
oh,
Ohio.
well, okay, fair enough. So I mean, with all this being, I can't, at the end of the day, I can't give you any answers. I'm sure you know that. I can only try to maybe give you some tools. Like I said, if I were you, I would definitely take this information. I would look into the 2020 dreams. Because, even though again, they might not be able to give you answers. And it doesn't sound like it's a problem so much now. So like, you don't really need to solve it, but you can't guarantee she's never going to come back. Do you worry about that at all?
I do worry about it coming back. And I also feel like I never solved the mystery.
Yeah, there's a lot of loose ends to this story. Like, who are these guys?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Who they reminded me of?
Who's that?
The farmhands in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh my God. It's so crazy that you said that, because the whole time you were telling your story, I was getting Wizard of Oz vibes,
Yep.
and I was going to say something about it, but I was like, that's kind of
right away.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Interesting that we all had the same thoughts.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz vibes. I think it was just the farm, and then these two guys, and then not being able to get back home.
Yeah.
That's like, that's the whole theme of the Wizard of Oz, is not being able to get back home, and then it being some kind of weird dream, right?
Right. I never made that connection.
Yeah. I mean, it was a Wizard of Oz moment. The wizard is trying to tell you something.
Yeah. Did you ever, so when you're having these dreams, I'm assuming when you're having them, you're not in control of the situation, because I'm assuming in your dream, you've never deviated from the path. Is that a good assumption, or has it changed a little bit?
Tried to.
It has not changed one bit. Someone did suggest to me that I look into lucid dreaming.
Right.
Yeah.
Once I figured out I could cover my TV to make it stop, I kind of took a break from it.
Yeah.
But I am curious. And one of the things that I kind of realized about dreams is I've never had a dream with a cell phone in it.
Okay.
Because I was like sitting around like contemplating these dreams, right? And I'm thinking, like, if I just had a cell phone to call for help, I'd be fine in this dream. And then I kind of realized, like, I've never had a dream about a cell phone.
Right.
And I asked a couple of my friends, and everyone said, yeah, no, I never have either.
Yeah. I don't think I have either. Dreams, there's like people that say that you only dream in black and white. My sister's deaf. All right. And when she has dreams, she can hear things in her dreams.
Oh.
And blind people can see things in their dreams. And now, granted, my sister, with her deafness, she is not completely deaf. She's what they call hard of hearing. When people think about hard of hearing, though, they think of like old people. You know what? It's not like that. She can hear what you're saying. She can't necessarily comprehend because her hearing was so bad and she didn't get hearing aids until at a later date. So, sit
The
structure
auditory
and things like that.
processing. Yeah.
Yeah, it just never, never clicked in her brain. So she can hear, but with deafness, there's also different levels of its tone is what it is. You can't hear certain tones. And so there's just some things that don't exist to her.
Yeah. Missing pieces of conversation.
Right. But in her dreams, she is able to hear and interact just as you and I are to do so with each other.
That's
she doesn't have to use sign
amazing.
language. Yeah. And it's very interesting.
What a cool experience.
Yeah, how that works out. And blind people, and we're talking completely blind people that don't see anything, because there's also different varying degrees of blindness. People that have never seen anything ever, don't even have eyeballs. They see things in their dreams. And then they can't really describe what they've seen, but they know they've seen things. They're not just dreaming in complete total darkness. It's pictures in your mind. And even if it's probably wrong, right? They're describing things. It's probably not totally accurate, or it's based entirely off of how they feel and touch the world, but still probably not accurate. I don't know what colors look like to a blind person. And how do you explain colors being a blind person in your dream? If you can dream in color, because again, they say you can only dream in black and white.
Yeah, it's
Weird.
interesting. It's weird.
Weird, right?
Perception in itself is a very mysterious thing to me. Like, what I perceive as blue, how do I know that you're perceiving the exact same thing? How do I know that you just haven't been taught that what you're perceiving is called blue, but it looks entirely different from what I see as blue? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know for sure when it comes to perception how anybody really perceives a thing.
Yeah.
Because that's such a unique experience to the perceiver.
Yeah, you can't crawl into somebody else's brain and see it. And so that's why dreams become such a weird, muddy topic.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to really explain to another person, in great detail about what you're perceiving. So, it is overall an interesting topic. Like I said, one that I haven't really had too much of a reason to look into. But I'm going to jump into the 2020 dreams now because it's Susie's fault.
See what you've done now, Susie.
I love making people go down new rabbit holes.
Gosh, I
So,
know.
speaking of dreams, Susie, have you ever had any other type of vivid dreams like that, or like recurring dreams, or any kind of other bizarre dreamlike experiences besides that?
I guess I'd call it like almost like a deja vu type of thing with the Oklahoma City bombings.
Oh.
Okay.
I was little. I think that happened in like 94, so I would have been like 10, maybe. Okay. I might be wrong about what year that happened, but I remember having a dream about seeing my mom watching it on TV. And then when it actually happened, I was like, I've had a dream about this.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Do you remember the dream itself, or you just remember that you had a dream about it?
I remember the feeling of remembering the dream.
Gotcha. Okay. That's honest. I'm just trying to look up when this happened. 95 is when it was. I was just curious. Yeah, it was close enough. Yeah. Wow. Obviously you were, like you said, you were maybe 10, maybe 11, at that age. Did anybody react to the fact that you said that you had a dream about it, or did you tell anybody?
I did not tell anybody.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Why didn't you tell anybody?
My mom would have thought I was crazy. For sure.
We heard my story in the beginning of this. You're not wrong. So good on you for being, I guess, smarter than I was at 12.
Yeah. I full on let my parents know I was crazy and, paid the price for it. So
it's definitely, it's a wise decision.
Wasn't savvy enough to think ahead as a young person and be like, if I do this, they're going to think I'm crazy.
Right. Is that the only other instance of anything that maybe potentially could be related to this that you can think of?
That's it. I mean, aside from that, dream wise, I've had like the teeth falling out dreams.
Sure.
When my son was a baby, I had reoccurring nightmares that the brakes in my car went out.
Okay.
Yikes.
But that seems reasonable for an expectant mom,
Right. Yep. But yeah, those are the only two things. Other than that, I've had just the normal weird dreams.
Sure.
You have car trouble dreams.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had have you ever had the one where you're like going off of a bridge into water or something? I've had that one.
No, not me. I have the one where you're trying to hit somebody and you can't.
I never have a car in my dreams. I'm always on foot and I'm always running from something. And I never have a car in my dreams. And if I do, I'm in the back seat of it. And it's driving itself or nobody's driving it. I've had those recurring nightmares. I used to have them a lot when I was younger, being in the back seat of a car that was going down the road and there's no one driving it. But
I hate when that
I'm never
happens.
lucky enough to be behind the wheel and steering my own dream.
Susie, have you had a lot of car troubles in your general life? I mean, like, not just like normal car troubles, but like a lot of car troubles?
I feel like my car is a source of anxiety for me.
Yeah.
Whether it's like warranted or not.
Right. I completely understand what you mean. Yeah, that's how I feel about every vehicle. Even my car now, there's nothing wrong with it. It's brand new almost, and I still feel like something's going to happen. Like my brakes are going to go out for no reason.
Absolutely.
And that thought always occurs to me. What if my brakes just don't work right? But I've had my brakes go out on me in 2 different cars, so maybe that's why. It happens and you just never trust it ever again.
My 18-year-old daughter just recently took her driver's license exam, and during the exam, her brakes went out. She passed her exam with a blown brake line.
Wow. Good for her.
And then, which was great, but then yesterday she wrecked her car on the way to school. She's okay, and the car was drivable to make it home, but it was just the weather was too bad. And out here in Northeast Ohio, we get lake effect snow up here.
Yeah,
and it's you want to talk about crazy mysteries? There'll be no snow on the ground, and then there's 3 feet of snow on the ground.
and
blink your eyes, and there's a whole wall of snow that just came from nowhere. But yeah, I've been having anxiety dreams because I have a brand new, fresh 18-year-old driver who is inexperienced, and I have to let go and let them go out on the road and take those chances. And then, sure enough,
I'm not excited about that myself. Susie, have you ever had any other strange, paranormal, ufological, cryptozoological, any other weird experiences in your life that you can recall?
Despite my best efforts, I have not.
Well, not yet.
I'm working on it.
You're trying.
I think I want it too bad.
Yeah, I think that yes, I think that happens to some people. I do.
They tend to happen when you least expect them.
Right.
Like I like you, Susie. I'm originally a registered nurse, so I'm very scientific minded, and I can be very skeptical. I'm always looking for the logical explanation behind any kind of mystery. But there was an occasion once where we were going down the freeway, and my daughter was there too, and we came across a motorcycle accident. And it had just happened, and the ambulance was there. The woman was lying on the ground, and she clearly had a head injury. There was, brains on the road. She's still moving. She's trying to reach up and touch her head, and the paramedics are trying to work with her on the ground. And I see the exact same woman standing at the back of the ambulance, looking and holding her head, and she looks at me as we're driving by and says, "I'm lying on a blue lighter. Can you tell them?" And I can't tell you. She didn't say it to me, but I heard it. It's hard to explain. I don't have these experiences. This has never ever happened to me. I thought it was the woman's twin sister. And I looked at
real.
it was, yeah, it was not, well, I mean, I guess it was real. My daughter saw her too. It was the woman. She had passed away. I called my friend when I got home, the one with the gifts, and I was like, I just had the weirdest experience. I saw what looked like a set of twins. One of them had been clearly in a motorcycle accident, and the other one, who was dressed exactly like her and standing there, said something to me. And she goes, those weren't twins.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
was that lady. And I was like, she was solid. She was a solid human being. My daughter saw her. But apparently
Interesting.
we had seen somebody leaving their earthly body.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
and
it was a weird experience, but like she said, I asked my friend, I go, am I going to see dead people all the time now? And she goes, no, you just happen to be open at that moment in time. You were relaxed. You weren't thinking about anything. You weren't stressed out, and you happened to be open, and she happened to catch you open and wanted to communicate something with you,
wow.
which was that she was lying on a blue lighter. And now I wish I had pulled over and walked over to the scene and asked them, could you check her pocket for a blue lighter?
Right. Roll her over for a second. You won't mind. Oh gosh, that's terrible. Well, obviously she wanted to be rolled over. I didn't expect this episode to get a twofer, so congratulations,
So
you guys. You got a couple of tales there. But Susie, I hope that are you receptive to people reaching out to you? If they might have any inkling or any type of lead on the situation, or are you content with where your stories ended up now?
I would love any potential theories or leads. It still bothers me that I don't have answers.
Gotcha. So would you be open to like speaking to people that are dream interpreters or maybe other mediums, things like that?
As long as they don't try to convince me she's not mad, because she is.
She's very mad, yeah.
knowing that she's mad, would you be willing to try something like a Ouija board or anything like that to be in communication with her, or would that be too intimidating because she's angry?
If I had the right support system with me, I would.
Okay. Even if that meant potentially opening that door back up.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
would be my concern.
I feel like we have to just battle it out someday, like
I
family
agree.
therapy, but it's
Yeah.
hard,
Family therapy.
Yeah. Oh my God. You should hire the dad from Casper because he's a ghost therapist. He was. Have him come along, right? He'll help, and you guys can sit down and just chat it out, right? I mean, you just got to tell her, like, look, I don't care what you think about me. Like, your opinion doesn't matter. You don't pay my bills.
Right.
I
I
don't
do
know
feel
you.
like someday I need to like get into lucid dreaming, take the scarf off of the TV, go to bed, and we just hash things out.
This is like a
Fight or what? But
a new Freddy Krueger movie. Like, it works. I love that. No, I agree. I think that
Revenge of the great granddaughter.
right. I think that you should look into lucid dreaming. I think you should prepare yourself because I mean, it sounds like you feel strongly that this is going to be something you're going to encounter later in your life. And I think that it probably will be. So, I mean, I think that you should like train, right? You should be good at it, like get the upper hand. So that way, the very first time she does come back, you're not like, oh God, now I have to learn all this stuff and deal with the dreams. You should look into it. I mean, that's, completely up to you and your time and how you want to handle it. But I would think that would be the next logical step at the very least, to be able to ask her, why are you here? And can you go away?
yeah, mind your
Can
business,
you go
lady.
away?
I mean,
Go towards the light, Grandma.
right, please.
Go towards the light.
We're done here with you, but I would be really interested. If it ever starts happening again, will you tell me?
Sure.
Because I would love to know. where this ends up. Yeah. If anybody, so I'm not gonna put your contact out there publicly and just for all to see. If anybody thinks that they can help Susy and trying to maybe further along some understanding here, get a hold of me directly and I will put you guys in contact. I just don't want crazy people reaching out to you and
I
trying
appreciate it.
trying to, you know,
You've already got crazy people reaching out to you in your
Right.
dreams and such.
right. You don't
Valid
need any
point.
more. And I've seen your Facebook. I know. No, I'm just, I know the struggle. But yeah, I mean, I'll let you know if anybody reaches out to me and I feel they're trustworthy and I'll connect you guys together, going from there. And then, in the meantime, if anything new comes along, just, let me know. Zuul, did you have any closing, questions or remarks to Susy?
No, I just think it's an incredibly fascinating story, and think it was interesting that you brought up the 2020 dreaming that was going on that people were reporting. This was an interesting little rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, definitely. And, I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing with us.
You're very welcome. It was nice to get that off my chest.
Good. I'm glad. That's definitely, we want to be able to help people here and, have you feel like you're in a spot where nobody's going to be like, wow, this girl's nuts. It's not like that here. There's probably going to be listeners that have a very similar experience to yours. And, I've heard it all. So
There's just so many things out there that we can't explain. That don't necessarily mean people are crazy if they experience them. It just means that you're experiencing something unique to your story, and it's something that is part of your own personal mystery of your life.
Exactly. Not understanding doesn't make you crazy. It just means we don't understand.
It's part of the journey.
And that's it, right? That's all there is to it. So, but with that being said, we'll go ahead and we will wrap up the episode right here. Susy, thank you again for coming on. Zuul, thank you for co-hosting tonight.
Absolutely.
And,
thank you for having me.
Of course. And we will see you guys back here on the next episode.